Alright then. Hey guys, Dante here and welcome back to my channel, The Burgos Art. And welcome back to another Sunday night art stream. It has been, once again, a bit too far between art streams. The intern has been taking up some of the slack for me in terms of content. Because a lot of the art projects I'm doing, once again, aren't really stream conducive, I guess. But I need to get some drawing done. So that's a digital drawing is an easy thing to do on the stream. So we're gonna jump into that. So let me just check some audio, make sure everything's up and running. Let's see. Okay, good. So we know the when a text shows up, I do hear it because sometimes I don't hear it, and therefore I don't know who's in the chat, if anyone's in the chat at all. So I think that audio, I think we're in good audio levels right now. So let me unplug from this. I'm gonna plug directly into my computer so I can hear all the audio cues. Let's see. There we go. So hello once again. So as the title indicates, we are drawing spacemen, or to be more precise, we are working. Hold on. Beep. Had to lower my seat a little bit. We are working on toy designs of a kind of astronaut, science fiction-y astronaut. I'm not sure. I've done some sketches, which you're gonna see in just a minute, that we're gonna use for our base. And essentially, this is now like the second part of our recent toy design work. If you have not been here, making sure my audio is, oh yeah. If you have not been here as of late, in the recent, I think it was the last art stream I did, I was working on some 3D designs, and I'm basically 3D modeling at very bare bones, really angular SketchUp 3D modeling, because Blender I've yet to really like dive into. But using SketchUp and the skills I have there, I have been creating these, and these are 3D prints of the 3D model, or rather its inverse. These are molds, with the intention of putting a soft material with the consistency of, let's say, Play-Doh. Play-Doh's a little stretchy, but not really sticky, and you put it in there and you put them together and you create. In this case, this is kind of like a centipede or what's what I'm thinking of? Caterpillar. He's kind of standing upward and snaking upward, and he has these two horns on top. That's what that is. And this is one half of a beetle. He's facing this way. He has his horns up this way, has a little stubby tail. They're aliens. So I'm designing a toy whose main gimmick are these molds, right? The toy is gonna have molds built into it. It's a figurine. It's gonna be a big, chunky, probably like if it was ever created and mass produced, maybe like a vinyl, kind of like dense, drop it to the floor, it won't break kind of figurine. And part of its back, or its backpack, will be used to make these little alien bugs. So we are designing an astronaut, a space explorer, but built into his suit. Hey intern, built into his backpack, the big backpack that astronauts have, is a mold in which the child, or the adult, whoever buys these, can mass produce all these little alien bugs. It is a toy it is an action figure that produces its own accessories. And there have been toys similar to this, but that's the gimmick of this toy I'm designing. We have already also designed a little disc that has eggs on it, a little disc that has like a roach on it. Those discs are actually going to be in the astronaut's boots. So his backpack is a sandwich mold, which opens and closes. They put Play-Doh into, and you get these little bugs. Or you get these bugs, and then you can also stomp him around and get little smaller bugs. That's the gimmick. So the first part's almost completely done. I have one more mold to finish. That is a praying mantis mold, inspired by the hand sculpted version, which is this. It's a praying mantis on its hind legs like this with its arms out. So this is the one I'm working on now. But I wanted to step away from the computer 3D modeling because it was kind of driving me nuts. Like 3D modeling, I overthink it. Everything has to be right. Everything has to be measured correctly. It's not as free form as you might have in Blender because I'm using SketchUp. Well, here's like the original concept for the centipede. Kind of hard to see on camera, to be honest. But an easier one to see. That's the original concept for the beetle. So the 3D models I'm making on the computer are not one-to-one to these sculpted ones. But just to give you an idea, this is, once again, kind of hard to see. It's a roach. He's missing an eye. He had 2 pink eyes. It's like a roach on a disc, a little tiny disc. And I think, here we go. Once again, it might be hard to see. These are 3 eggs on a disc. So we have modeled and 3D printed and tested the beetle, the centipede, and in the next room I have the other 3D models I printed for the eggs and the roach. So they all work. The 3D renders work, and I'm using 3D printing a la PLA to make these molds. The final product might not even have that. I don't know, but I just want to get like a prototype up and running. So all of that is mechanically done to have all the measurements just right. I have them 3D printed. But today we are going to design a general body shape for the astronaut, along with some concepts that may or may not make it to the last bit. I'm drawing this out because this will not be modeled in 3D. This I could probably sculpt by hand, and then make an easy copy, and then from there 3D print the molds. Like, it's a mixed media project, and that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be working with that. I have already drawn a box. This box is roughly 4 inches by 5 inches, which is the more or less the size needed to house all of these molds on the backpack. So we're gonna be drawing the body within this. So the whole thing might end up, the whole figurine might end up being from feet to the top of the backpack at the very least. Maybe a 7 or 8 inch figurine. It's gonna be a chunky boy. It's gonna be a big chunky boy. Kind of like those old Power Ranger toys. Like the old, not the Power Rangers themselves, but a lot of the monsters were like a good 7 to 8 inches tall. This is all inspired by old toys. And that's that. That's what we're doing today. And aside from that, not much else to jump into. So, let's do some drawing. Alright, so we're going to start by first taking these sketches, these concept sketches. Let me break this up into 2 pieces. Hold on. But these are just some concept sketches I did at work. Let's copy and paste. Yeah. Deselect that. Okay. Lower the opacity. Alright, so let's start with feet for a minute. Zoom in a bit. The zoom is jumping way more than I need. There you go. So I think we could shrink this down. So on an astronaut, the backpack goes essentially down the whole back and a little bit above the head, so pretty much where the helmet's at. So let's put him around there. Put those legs around there. Okay. Then we're going to take this top half. We need to beef up that belly a little bit. Let's see. You're talking I think. I'm thinking something like that. Or let me do free transform. Scale. Just gonna widen him a bit. There we go. Now I'll be honest. Erase tool. I think I might need to resize this. Okay, so we're going to try and resize this. Let's see. Can I transform both of these? Yes, I can. So if that's the backpack, that backpack's kind of wide all of a sudden. So ideally, if it's that wide, could the actual backpack on an astronaut's back we put like right around there? Yeah, that seems to be it. I'm gonna aim for around here. Now, before that being said, how big is this? How big is this guy gonna be? Right? How big is this guy? So let me do some movement here. Oh, that's a problem. Move him up a little bit. There we go. Center it just a little bit. Okay. So, if you're thinking about it, file. Where are our grid? Grid. So let's see. That's less than an inch. That's an inch. So you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He might be 9 inches tall. You know, smaller than a Barbie doll, but still. Let me see what we have here. This little ruler I have is 5 inches. So 5 plus another 4. That's how big this guy might end up being, given the size of the creatures on his back. I mean, to be honest, I could always try and shrink down these models in the computer and then reprint them at a smaller scale. But that would cause some detail to be lost given where it sits at the moment. Some stuff is like 2 millimeters big. So this is kind of the chunky fellow we're looking at here. I mean, in the final product, we go with fudge it. The backpack could be lower, could be more down his butt, not just on his back. Like, I can actually like fudge the backpack that's on the astronaut. But as of right now, going by this model, it's about that big. It's like bigger than this freaking bottle, right? But we're not here to worry too much about those details. We just need to get a concept done. I just want to have a concept laid out. So let's do that. Okay, let me just lock what we have. Not you. We don't need you yet. That's the arm. That's one of the arms. We'll do the arm in a minute. Right now, it's chest and legs. And the box. All right. So he's, you know, he's a little bit of an astronaut suit, a little bit of just pure sci-fi. So we're just gonna have fun with the design on this. So the inspiration for the toy um, does come from the old like Ninja Turtles, Kenner, uh, like toy line, right? That's kind of what the idea stems from, and why is that not the right size? Brush size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep that 6. Nope, that's too thin. So the best, if I haven't gone over this before, or if you haven't heard it, the best way to describe it is, do you remember? Do you remember? There was a Ninja Turtle toy. It was earlier in the franchise because they made a lot of, man, they were just pumping out ideas left and right. Raphael with drop kicking action, and Michelangelo with pizza throwing action, etc., etc. But essentially, they had earlier in the run, they had this really cool concept where it that was weird. In which the turtles, their shells opened up, and was a little storage for their accessories, right? All their accessories. Now, what I liked about that particular gimmick was that it didn't really change much of the original Ninja Turtle mold. Like if you're someone that bought a Ninja Turtle toy, and then you bought the one that had the backpack, the built-in shell backpack, it didn't like really alter the mold. It was pretty much the same figurine, just slightly bigger. So, and also Ninja Turtles was like one of those many lines that just every toy came with all these little accessories. You know, the little weapon rack, like unlike a lot of toys like today, or even since, to be honest, a lot of the weapons were just in the box. But with Ninja Turtles, a lot of the accessories were like on this kind of like little rack that you would have to pop the accessories off, right? And I'm sure the rack was also advertised as like an extra toy in itself, like a little accessory toy in itself. Oh, that's why the lines look all digital, like not as smooth as the pen tools. What is happening? I must have hit something. Sorry about that. The whole screen just went purple for me. I don't know about you guys. But yeah, so it was a Ninja Turtle.
Is brought to you by Apple Card. Apply for Apple Card.
It's supposed to be a freaking non-stop ad. What the hell's going on here?
Subject to credit.
Don't want to hear this stuff. I want to hear the freaking. Got lo-fi beats that get interrupted by freaking commercials. Come on now, people. Come on. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so there's a Ninja Turtle. Pop the shell back open. All little accessories inside. Ninja Turtle toys had all these little accessories inside. And what was also really cool about toys back in my day, you know, you had toys that also had even extra figures. I mean, you got that now, especially like if it's a doll, like any of the doll toys, like they come with like little puppies or whatever like that. Am I right? Am I right? But with the Ninja Turtle toy, and even more so, if you were a Ghostbuster fan, you would get the Ghostbusters would have like ghost, like every figurine would come with a little ghost. And I'm like, I used to love that idea. Just like you have these toys that double. Not that they doubled, but that they had all the accessories with them. You know? So what if the backpack was the accessory maker? And that's the idea for this. What if it's a toy, a little action figure, whatever you want to call it, in which the figurine itself could be used to just make more and more accessories, right? Kind of a version of creepy crawler. Creepy crawlers, you know, which was a toy that made toys. So there you go. So kind of combining like my love of the older figurines that just like had all these little accessories that you could play with and add stuff to them. That, you know, even modern toys have that, of course. But to do that to the next level, right? That's kind of what I'm going for. And this also plays heavily into when I was but a lad, when I was but a little boy. I used to have a Play-Doh toy set. It was Play-Doh, official Play-Doh, that had like Disney licensed sandwich molds. So you could put the Play-Doh in, close it, open it, and you would have an entire little figurine about yay big of Goofy, Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse. And I love that. I love that toy. I think it was like so cool. Now, what am I going to do with this once I actually make it? I can't say. I'm thinking I might pitch it to a toy company. I wouldn't know where to start to try and mass produce it. Like, I can mass produce a solid figurine, a solid sculpture, but a toy with moving parts like this, don't know, can't say. By the way, Streamlabs, get your shite together. So Streamlabs has this thing where, you know, you set up everything. You set up the title, where you're broadcasting to, and if you're broadcasting to Twitch, you can actually set up, when you're putting the title in, you can then put all the little hashtags and then label it as whatever the category is. So it shows you the category that Twitch uses. So I select art, or I select a video game. Every time I select a category, when it's on Twitch, that category doesn't show up. So if I label this basketball, and then I put it up during the stream it's not labeled, it's just blank. So it doesn't end. So if someone wants to do a search underneath basketball, they wouldn't find it. So I had to actually, on my phone, while it was in the loading screen, correct the settings to make that way people know that way if it shows up in Twitch and people go to, I don't know, once again people go into the art category. I just had a double audio right now. It's in art. Otherwise, when people go searching for art, it won't show up, and that's very annoying. I don't know why it does that. I don't know why it asks me what the category is, but then when I select it, it doesn't stream it in that category. It's one of those mysteries of life. So I did some of these basic sketches at work in a notepad, which was nice because the notepad, because it's lined, I was able to make sure everything was lined up more or less correctly. It's not perfect, but in other art news, I had to scramble to get my brushes all reset because I did what is hopefully, cross your fingers, the last edit, drawing edit, not so much in terms of like gameplay or whatever, for the game Ascending Assassins. It is a card and dice game that I designed a while back, and I've just been I've test played it with a few friends, but every time I do a test print, the company that prints it just prints it like too dark, so the background keeps disappearing. In fact, file, recent. Give me a second. Where are you? There we go. So this is an example of that, by the way. So I redid the background, turned the mountains and everything in the back green, gave it light green highlights, tinted the sky. It's a bit darker, then it's a bit light, medium, and then dark. So I had to redo the background. Let me zoom out. Had to redo the background on all my cards. I did the background, then went to all the cards, all the box art. This is the box art, all the advertising, and just like redid all of that in order to don't save. In order to get the background to pop more. So hopefully this next test print will show that. And if the test print looks good, I can then officially... Wow, I did that arch. I meant to do something else and that came out perfect. That test print will hopefully translate to the final product and come out just fine. We shall see. So Ascending Assassins is a card game. It is much like many board games. It's random movement with the dice roll, and it's a race to the finish, which is in which our protagonist, you, play as a ninja ascending a tower in order to assassinate the corrupt emperor and save Japan. Every time you roll the dice, you end up on a new stage, or rather you end up on a new card in this deck of cards. And that's pretty much it. You're running, you're rolling, you're trying to get ahead of everyone. There's a few cards in the deck that aid you, a few cards in the deck that affect everyone positively or negatively. So like there's a little bit of randomness, a little bit of planned gameplay. That one's too low. Let me back up. Let me see, that's there. Alright, that's a midpoint, so I'm just going to do some quick guides. That needs to be fixed, and you go there. Okay. And that puts you there. Yeah. Just using the guides along with the actual along with the actual lines that's in the textbook paper. But yeah, so as I was saying, Ascending Assassins coming to a store near you, coming to an online store near you. Snap to the ruler, please. I still hate the fact that it does that automatically. Every time I make a guide, it automatically wants to go to it. We've had this conversation before. So the boots are meant to be big old chunky boots. Oh, does this work? Okay. They're big and chunky because the mold that goes into the feet is a big round disc. It has big round boots, big old Mega Man boots, pretty much. So it's big old Mega Man boots with a little toe that sticks out. I'm actually drawing a figurine that's meant to be like, he's not in a pose. It's like kind of like the Da Vinci, Perfect Man with one arm's like this and one arm's like this. It's just I'm combining a turnaround sheet into one body pretty much. That's why one foot is completely sideways. I got some windows open that I don't need. I realized in this shirt, which I love this shirt, it's really like stiff. It looks super broad-shouldered in it. Oh, this reminds me, I'm looking at the stream right now. I need to change that. You can find me here as well. I am not putting X on it. I'm gonna keep the blue bird image. I'm not gonna change it to X. But I'm also on the butterfly. I am on Blue Sky or Blue Ski. I'm also there. Mainly to follow a lot of people, a lot of artists that I like. But there's so many people to follow. It's hard to like. I'm sure I know there's like some kind of app you could use to like. Hey intern, I know some kind of apps you could use to follow. Like it copies your followers from one spot to the other. But at the same time, I feel like that app is probably collecting data on who you follow. So I'm gonna have to do it manually. So a lot of people I gotta transfer over to. The only reason I'm on Twitter is because it's when the people I follow are still there. I'm double dipping anyway. But I need to update that logo in the corner. So actual like astronaut outfits don't have this kind of like cross strap around the waist, around the hips. Like this is more of like an aviation thing. But you know, I think it was cool. Also helps break up the actual design, because actual astronaut outfits are just pretty much just all white, like spandex stuff. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in a previous stream. When I went to San Diego Comic Con a few years back, my first and only time going there, it was a nice experience. You know, it's some cool stuff came from there. But I also met two of the people who did like a huge amount of work for the original Ninja Turtle toy line. I bought a book from them, and it's just like all the original drawings, just concepts they had, where they were like just drawing everything they had at the wall. What if, what if we designed Raphael as a spaceman? You know, I got to talk to like the guy who owned the company, and then also I got to talk to one of the lead designers that work alongside him. That's an advertisement, I think.
There's something big out there.
Our world is made of strands all wove together. Now,
Anyway, I got to talk to them, and what was really cool, he mentioned how like they almost did the YMCA toys. So they had, I'm sure people have heard about this. There is a like I think there's is there, so there is I believe a construction worker, Mikey, a police officer like Donatello, like I forget who does who, but there is a construction worker, there is a police officer. They designed a Native American version, I think, of Raphael, huge headdress and stuff. You wouldn't do that today. The design is like caricature-esque, with the giant like headdress with the feathers. They never did like a leather daddy. That was the one they couldn't do, but they did all the other YMCA characters. So, you know, it be what it be. All right. So where we stand? We got boots. We got big old boots with like with cloth pants, big knee pads, rivets, lots of rivets. Now the chest is meant to have a gimmick in it, right? So if this works, the main gimmick is the backpack with the molds. Given the size of what we come up with, right? The question is, how many other gimmicks can you pump into this bad boy? That's what it really comes down to, right? So one gimmick I had was, what if, like, the stomach opened up? It has all these, like, mechanical bits on the outside. So you lift the stomach up, you put a bug in. When you squeeze it, it looks like the bug is oozing out of all the mechanical bits. As if... essentially as if the bugs got into the suit and it's oozing out. Cap block off. I'm just doing a quick Google search. Hey, Red. I'm just doing some toy designs. Good to see you jump in. I'm going online right now doing a quick Google search for some reference. Looking up some astronaut suits. So the backpack definitely doesn't go below the belt. It goes from the butt to the top of the head. So this is close to the scale we're going for, which means this figurine is probably going to end up being like a good 9-inch tall figurine, give or take. Give or take, once we figure out the 3D print for the backpack and the molds that goes into it. We'll figure that out. How you been, Red? We haven't had a chance to like actually meet up and hang out for a bit. Last time we talked, you said you were doing okay. You know, okay as it can be given the circumstance of life and work and working to live and living with work. But aside from all of that, anything interesting going on in your life? Do you want to share with us some being an adult, man. Being an adult. That's always good. Like, number one, it's always good to just like, to be like, oh, I know I have to do this, but when you do it, the stress is gone. Plus, it's taxes. You know, if you're lucky, you get some money back. It's always a good thing. We must utilize that if possible. So I'm thinking of giving this guy like a basic chest plate, and then the belly is gonna be kind of stuck out, like a little fat belly with a bunch of mechanical stuff on it, kind of like, you know, like Darth Vader. Because once again, it's an astronaut base. He has a bunch of armor plating and straps and just stuff to make him look interesting. I'm not married to this design. I'm just kind of, I just want to visualize what I can of it. So when the time comes and it's ready to sculpt, I'm not just making up stuff. Good to hear it, man. I hope so. I keep trying to tell Rex, who I feel he's overthinking it. But I keep trying to tell him, listen, man, don't worry about Streamlabs. Don't worry about Streamlabs and double streaming and find an app to have your phone hook up to your computer via Wi-Fi. Just put your phone above your table and stream to Instagram. Stream where the people are following you. I've been trying to tell Rex that constantly. I tell Rex this. I mean, dude, I tell him all the time, dude, you have a massive following on Instagram. Like, you have a massive, massive following. Why not? At least massive compared to me, of course. And I tell him, why not just utilize that? Like you don't have to worry about any kind of programming. Just stream onto Instagram. And then when you want to expand your audience, then you can worry about everything else after that. One second. Oh, Dragon Quest. Awesome. No. Wait, when you said plug and play, do you mean like just those like little boxes? Like the one game boxes that like just have like these usually have two buttons and a little control on it? Is that what you mean by plug and play? Can you say swinging a sword controller? I'm thinking more like Wii when you say sword controller. Or is this a little like box and the handle is like a little sword? Yes, please send pictures, please. I don't know if you saw. There's a guy that's been popping up in my feed on Instagram. You know, Instagram knows us. We tend to all get the same kind of feed because of the algorithm. Who just like does really good painted customs of Game Boys. I don't know if he's popped up on your feed lately. I just sent an image to Katorius Rex, and it's basically the cover for Ninja Turtles, the movie. I think the second one, Secret of the Ooze, where they're all looking down into the ooze container, and he painted the the Game Boy like that, and switched out the buttons for like neon, slimy green looking buttons, a cartridge on the back has a pizza on it. It's a really cool, like just hand painted customs of shells. I don't know if they do the actual Game Boys. I think it's just the shells, but that alone is just a cool piece of artwork. Uh, So this line I'm doing right now. I think I just got the text right now. I'll take a look. This line I just did around the belly, that indicates the seam where if it, for the toy, the belly opens up, you put one of the little alien bugs inside, or just put a ball of Play-Doh. And when you squish it down from this control panel, all the Play-Doh squirts out. So it would be as if like the bug has gotten into his suit and is squeezing out. So I'm hoping I can include this gimmick in the toy, but it all comes down to, once again, how the backpack fits on it. The backpack is actually meant to be two different layers. You have the one main layer, which is like the main backpack, which is gonna have all the bug molds in it, and then I want to do another like layer beneath that, like a double sandwich layer. It opens up this way, then it opens up like that, and this inside part is going to be partly in the astronaut himself, because you're going to have a layer for the bugs and a layer to make little tools like laser guns and stuff like that go on the astronaut. Planning, but nothing's solid. Oh my god, that looks amazing. You guys can't see this, but it is like a little plastic sword. Like a little miniature version of what the character has in Dragon Quest. Yeah, and you swing the sword around. Man, who made this? This Nintendo? Who made this, man? Make I zoom in. Square Enix. Okay, I see Square Enix. So I'm guessing it's an older product because I could see in the corner it's not HDMI. It's good old yellow, yellow, white, and red. That's cool, man. Just another excuse for a grown ass man to be standing in his living room in his underwear, just swinging Wii remotes. And no, no. I'm sorry. I never understand like the trans. I never understood how freaking like yen works. You tell someone something's $1,000, they go cool. You say that's a lot of money. You tell someone it's 1,000 yen, it's like, oh, that's $2. Like I never understood the math. Really? I'm hoping it's working. I'm hoping it didn't send you a lemon. Same. That's cool though, man. That's very cool. Okay, let me get back to it. Yeah, so it's like that. So yen is that yen, by the way? I'm guessing that's what that is. So yen is like pennies if you think about it. So 100 yen. If you were to try and do a 1-to-1, 100 yen is 100 pennies, which is $1. It's like trying to do like it's like how the metric system is. It's all in tens, so technically it should be much more much more easier to understand with the metric system. But since we're American, anything in tens it still doesn't work with our minds as well. And by what I'm drawing right now, by the way, is just a little indicator. It's like a little door hinge. That's my basic design for a door hinge. Let's just do a bunch of mechanical nonsense right now. Oops, did it wrong. Why is that filled? Oh, that's why the pen size is way too big. Did it backwards. It's this one on top I should get rid of. Any Oh dude, I was gonna ask you about like any interesting thing in like pop culture, any anime you've heard about coming up. Did you ever get a chance to go check out Please Pretty Please I Don't Want to Be a Magic Girl? Have you had a chance to check out that pilot? Oh, dude, you gotta check it out. It's short. It's just a pilot. It's just like a general like this is the vibe of it, and it's so good. But it's also like you're never gonna see that on a regular TV show, like a regular TV channel. Maybe Adult Swim if they're smart, but it's one of those things. Is like it's something that fits. I think it really does fit today's like mindset of like animation for teens and up. Animation that like a teenager could enjoy and a bunch of YouTubers in their 30s could watch and do reaction videos to. Like it's one of those kind of shows, and I hope it does well. Like I hope it really picks up a lot of steam. I think it's already picking up a large fan base at the moment. So I'm hoping like hoping it gets whatever funding it needs to move forward. Trying to think, there was something else. There was something that just got. They just made a commercial for. That was animated. And I can't remember what it is. I just saw a trailer for like on Twitter, and people were like genuinely like excited about it. But now it just escaped my mind. It'll come back. Oh, but here's one thing. What is that comedy movie from like the 70s? It's not Top Gun. Naked Gun. I think it's Naked Gun. Yeah, I think it's Naked Gun. They're remaking, I don't know, a remake, whatever you want to call it. But they're making a new Naked Gun with freaking, you know what? Give me a second. Okay. So they are remaking Naked Gun, right? But it's, oh, what's his name again? Liam Neeson, yes! And I gotta say this, like, man, like, I never even seen the original Naked Gun. I've seen plenty of clips of it. I've seen probably the censored version on TV years ago. But, regardless of how you feel, I know, regardless of how you feel about remakes, regardless of how you feel about a remake of this particular movie, like I've seen Naked Gun like censored on TV on Comedy Central. There's a lot of jokes in it today that probably wouldn't do well today with today's audience, and I say that in a weird voice only because I know which jokes they're talking about that you couldn't do today. But perfect casting, like perfect freaking casting, man. You kidding me? Well, think of it. Well, the thing is this. In the original movies, the main character plays the role straight anyway. That's the whole joke behind it. He's serious and plays it straight. He's not the one making jokes. That's kind of like the whole humor behind it. And we've seen him do this before in Ted. There's like a whole scene where he's buying Lucky Charms in the movie Ted. And he's playing it like dead serious. And next time you see him, he's like all bloodied. And there's like a whole story behind him buying Lucky Charms. Give me a second. No, Liam Neeson. Yeah, Liam Neeson was a serious actor. Yeah. I'm getting a name. No. Liam Neeson is a serious actor. He's always been a serious actor. Liam Neeson's always been. But I'm saying that's the humor of it. You have to play it serious. In the original film, who was the actor's name? Give me a second. Okay, I'm getting it backwards. Forgive me. I'm getting it backwards. Liam Neeson was. I'm saying it all backwards. Forgive me. Liam Neeson was a serious actor who then went into comedy. But what makes him funny is that in his comedy, he usually plays it straight. I'm saying it completely backwards. Yes, him. Yeah, he was the original. Exactly. He was in the original Naked Gun. and he used to be a serious actor from what everyone tells me, but I only know him from his comedy. But the new actor is the one that was in Ted. And in Ted, you know, he's the one from the movie Taken. And in Ted, he plays a serious character who's buying freaking Lucky Charms. So I think they chose the best actor for the new remake. I'm getting off track. Let me get back to my artwork. Let me get back to my drawing. But yeah, I think they chose the best actor for it. That's all I'm trying to say. Alright, so now we have this. And you guys can't see what this is. This is the arm sketch. Airplane. That was when I know him from Airplane. Dracula Dead and Loving It. I never actually seen that movie, but I know about it, of course. Alright, let's figure out what we got here. Give me a second. I'm on the wrong layer. I'm just thinking about how I want to draw this, the arm on this. Screw it, we'll just do it from scratch. Screw it, we'll do it live. So with that being said, good old I am doing it really stocky, the way so. There we go. Definitely has a Ninja Turtle vibe to him now, but I'm okay with that. This I think is okay. Alright, so that's gonna be our basic layout. So he was in Airplane. I forget which one he is, because there's a guy and there's a guy in the radio. What? Well, that's the. I mean, it is the inspiration more or less. It is kind of the inspiration. The inspiration is kind of like that, you know, dense, stocky figurine. I was saying earlier in the stream before you jumped in, I have the book. By the company / the people, because there's more than one person at the table who did like half of Ninja Turtle designs, just pages and pages and pages of sketches like this of like, what if we make a Raphael as a caveman? What if you make a Donatello that's, sewer diving Donatello, and you spin his waist, and when you put him into the water, his legs spin. Like, these are the guys who thought of this stuff. I have that book, so it definitely helps me, like, you know, it lets you know that sometimes you don't need to be, it's about the fun of the product, not so much, you know, anatomically correct or kid safe. It is the fun of it's the fun part of the product that makes it interesting. So one arm, right there, it's gonna have a little slot indent because, like a little square slot. Because I'm thinking one of the gimmicks, aside from the bugs he makes, you could probably do molds. It's gonna be like a little battery pack, so you put all over the figurine to give the character power, and then you can also put the battery packs on the bugs, on the little alien figurines, and see how that works. Give the aliens power. Power extreme. Give me a second. So, am I getting the names incorrect? Liam Neeson is the new actor. Who's the original actor then? No, Liam Neeson is the new actor. Why am I getting the names? No, correction. That's why I'm getting confused. It's Leslie Nielsen I'm look. My dyslexia is kicking. My dyslexia is kicking in as I'm looking at the list of names for the old and new movie. It's labeling all the old and new actors together, and my eyes are like switching it around. Liam is a new one. Leslie was the original. Thank you. Freaking dyslexia. I cannot tell you how many times, earlier today, before I started drawing, I was writing. And I realized when I write, my spelling errors that come up with the most simplest words is because as I'm typing, like, my mind is moving quicker than my fingers. And I realize when I'm typing letters backwards. So I find the word take, T-A-K-E, to take something. I'm writing T-K-A-E. Like, I'm typing letters backwards. That's, aside from my inability to spell most words, when I'm typing, I'm switching letters back and forth. Don't call me Shirley. cool, man. All right, see you later. Thank you for jumping in. That is the wrong tool. And the cuff is gonna have this big cylinder around it because that is something that astronauts have, like a big like airlock cuff that comes off the hand. So I was watching just doing like general research in like toy design and stuff, and one great channel for that is Steady Crafting with the Craft Man. Love that guy. I should definitely watch more of his videos. And he did a video. It's actually an older video from what I could tell, and it's how to change the size of them. I always wondered how. I don't have anything to make an example of here. I've always wondered, like, how do toy companies, how do knockoff toy companies, how did they make oversized or even undersized? Usually it was oversized, and they lose quality after a while. How did they make oversized copies of toys way before the digital age, way before we had toys being designed in 3D modeling, which you could just grab that file and change the size? Like, how did they do that back then? How is it you could find a Ninja Turtle toy this big, which looks exactly like the actual Ninja Turtle toy, smaller, just had lesser quality? I kept wondering, like, how do you do that? Did someone sit down and resculpt the toy? No, that takes too much money. And I found, and I was watching a video, and it's a trick he learned. So the Craft Man learned this trick from another YouTuber. He shares the link for it as well, of how to take a mold of a toy, of a product you've done, how to upscale it or even shrink it down. And it's so simple, and I'm like, oh my god, that is great. Of course, if you try to exponentially make it larger, you lose the detail of that figurine. But if you're sculpting a figurine of a certain size, like a maquette, and you want to shrink it down a little bit small, it technically keeps all of that design. It just shrinks it more and more. Obviously, at some point, you get degradation at some point, even when you're shrinking it. But man, it blew my mind when I saw it, and I'm like, I gotta try this. I need to try this with a few of my products. I have a few products that I wouldn't mind like changing the size of. I wanna try this. And it'll be easier, and it's great for people who like me who can't really sculpt that well on small scale. I'm not an expert sculptor. I can do miniature D&D figurines. Are you kidding me? That's insane. How do I do these little figurines? But to sculpt it larger and then shrink it down. Game changer for me. Seeing this video, I'm like, okay, that's how it's done. It's time to get serious now about it, you know? My pen sensitivity in terms of doing dashes is a bit weird right now. Yeah, so for those of you wondering, the simple answer to how do you do it, it's if you're using a silicone mold and you use, I think it was mineral spirits, I have to double check. But essentially, mineral spirits in a silicone mold, which is usually a 2-part epoxy kind of mold, like a 2-part mold, doesn't really damage the chemical reaction in the 2-part. Like, the chemicals still work. It just dilutes it. So you could basically make a mold that's pre-diluted. Give it time to dry, of course. And then carefully pull out your sculpture. Pull out your sculpture once it has solidified, and then let it stay, and it naturally evaporates the mineral spirits and continues shrinking. So you get a smaller mold. Or you make a figurine, soak it in mineral spirits for like 2 days, and it almost doubles in size. And then if you let that dry, it'll shrink as well, but still. Where's my box layout? So I'm gonna make the box a bit bigger so you guys can see it.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who...
Where is... No. Increase that to like 8. Nope. Just want to get a general... There we go. So it's around there. That's on a different layer, so I'm not going to screw up the drawing I've done so far. Oh, what happened just right? Come on, rename correctly. Come on. BOX, box, books. Delete that layer. Put the music back on. And the reason I'm using this, like, you've all heard this music before. The reason I'm using this freaking music is because music provided by Streamlabs for Twitch still gets flagged sometimes. And that's just annoying. one gimmick I want to try and have in the other arm won't be the little patch you put a little battery in, but I want to have like a swing out like little plastic knife. That way, you know, that way the character has a little plastic knife, little like laser gun knife that you can use to cut the Play-Doh with. It's one of the only accessories built into him physically. So, how to go about that? How to design it? What I'm gonna do? Let's go do a flip, and then we'll actually do separate hands at different angles. I just want to get the basic body right now. So let's no lasso. No. It is M. It's the lasso tool in M. There we go. Ironically, we're using just right audio right now. Copy paste. Flip horizontally. Move it over here. Right about there is good. Enter. Let's delete. What do we not need here? There's something in here we don't need. Yeah, I'm just gonna redraw this area. We also don't need you. That's good. Deselect. Let's merge our two ink layers. It's a copied layer and non-copied layer. I'm gonna merge them together. Merge and become one. Okay, so I'm going to change this all together. So in the toy, for the toy, I guess this arm will be perfectly stiff. One arm is like bent, one arm is slightly bent for action pose, one arm is just a stiff arm. It's big swinging blade arm, if it makes sense. Let's see, how about just doing some random design. It's like a giant gauntlet. Takes up almost the entire arm. Excuse me. So let's say it does this. There we go. So it's like a giant blade. The whole thing slides outward. Or flips outward, I guess you could say. Nope, the pin will be on this side. Yeah, that's the pin. This looks nasty. Let's get rid of this. There you go. This ring doesn't really do anything, it's just for aesthetic. Enough of that. Enough of that. I can't stand the fact that it does that every few seconds. I'm going to try and switch to ambient sounds, little forest and jungle sounds. Hopefully it won't also be interrupted every 5 seconds. Doesn't quite match any kind of vibe we're doing, but it's something in the background. Or I could say, fudge it, let's take the risk. Let's take the risk. Let's see what music we have going on. Stream music. Why did you get moved? Streamlabs. That's an interesting word. Streamlabs music is getting deprecated on May 31st. Found an alternative here. But it's not May 31st yet. So why can't I just listen to music now? Oh, March. It was done in March. So much for looking for a music alternative, guys. Let's go for our horror. Because this one, I don't think we've really had any issues with this one. So let's see if that works. Alright. Let's see what we come up with now. He's a chunky boy. it's obviously super bare bones in terms of like creative design. A lot of this is, to be honest, it's pretty simple stuff. It's just once again me trying to get like an idea of scale. Come on, there we go. Me trying to figure out like a nice idea of scale, what I'm aiming for. Maybe I add more details as I go along. I want to add more of the port that's on its arm. I want to add more of those like throughout the form. What is happening here? Edit, undo. I think my pen is running out of power because it's like randomly double clicking. There we go. It was double clicking and therefore trying to flatten the entire image. Weird. I mean, no problem really, because all the other sketches we don't need are kind of done with. With that being said, I'm gonna do some cleanup. I'm gonna get rid of the original sketches. You guys can't see them because they're still invisible, but I'm getting rid of the layers that I don't need. So the only layers we have right now is the box in the background, a sketch layer, and the main ink layer. That's really it. On the back of the box, I'm definitely going to be adding one or two, probably two of these little like PowerPoints, these little places. You know what? Why say it when you can do it? Edit, canvas size. Let's duplicate it. Right now I'm working on an 8.5 by 11 sheet. 8.5, 8 and 8 is 16, 17. Let's take our inks. Let us duplicate that. Let's move it steady as she goes. Frick. Back. Need to duplicate the box as well. There we go. Okay, so everything's locked except for this guy right here. I know that messes up with the navigation window in the corner, sorry about that. Oh, we have flipped the canvas and it looks horrible. But it is what it is. So we are going to okay that. First things first. Let's get some lines. so we're going to the backside now. Butt cheek. Just for the sake of continuity, we're also going to change a few other things. Even though we're going to focus right now on the backpack, I still want to make sure the legs and all that are backwards as well. flipped you. What are you? Okay.
Need a few frames? Generative Extend from Adobe Premiere Pro can fix that. Add a few frames.
Wow, this has
generate ambient
advertisement
sound,
too.
and more. For a limited
Merge these two together. So I can erase what I want to erase rather than jump between 2 or 3 different freaking layers. Okay, same thing here. Fix that thumb. I was debating on giving him mitten hands, but then that really looks like a Ninja Turtle. We'll see. Maybe in the final sculpt, I'll to simplify my life, I'll give him mitten hands, you know, like hands like this. Now this is where everything needs to be changed for the sword. We are now making a literal track where the sword will flip out. Mind you, we are designing the toy, not so much the actual, like how the figurines go, you know. We're designing the gimmicks in the toy. This is the track, if you were, the indent in the arm that's going to allow the sword to, from the knuckle, swing out like that. Okay. How did I miss you? How did I miss that? Maybe we'll do some better cleanup in a bit for the lines. Okay. Let's combine these guys together. No, don't do that. Just these 3 layers, please. Stop double clicking. Alright, so we have our one guy there. Straightforward. Pretty easy idea. Back guy. Back of the guy, that is. Okay. Someone just jumped in the chat. Give me a second. I'll look at you in a minute. I just didn't want to do like solid squares. I figured squares with little curves around them. Almost like old CRT TVs, you know? So these squares are just going to be more slots where the battery mold, one of the molds. So essentially you have this backpack. In this backpack will be the mold for the aliens. Is that how centered is that on the screen? That's centered enough. So the backpack is the mold for the aliens. You open it up. That's the sandwich mold for the aliens. And then if you then turn that backpack off, in the back of the astronaut is a mold for stuff for the astronaut. Little battery packs that can be placed all over his body. Maybe a mold for like a laser gun. And then the one accessory that's built into him is the sword on his arm that slides out that he could use to cut the little plastic, Play-Doh aliens up into chunks. That's the idea, along with the stomach gimmick where you open the stomach, you put a Play-Doh inside and you squeeze it. All the Play-Doh squeeze out of his control panel. So that's the idea there. Oh, hey Red, good to have you back. I'm just doing a rotation of the character, front and back. Just trying to get the idea out of my head, as opposed that way when I start sculpting it, I have some kind of basis. I always forget where. There it is. Decorations. There's effects, hatches. Where are you? I'm looking for one particular thing. Ah. Boom, there it is. That's so weird. Trying to adjust the gap. So I'm fiddling with the dotted line tool, right? So if I make that's thickness, that's brush. If I make the size different, so I have that, right? That's thickness. No. Trying to find a way to cheat it. Cheat the pattern.
Meet Asana.
But if I
a
set to
work
wide,
management
it just
platform that helps companies get more done
just does a
and save
line.
more time.
It doesn't
Teams
really
can stay
like
connected while they
help
check
me in any
updates.
way. So what I'm trying to do is see if I could bring the pearls closer together. So, oh wait, maybe that's what I need to do. There we go. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. So I do something like this. Okay. You'll see what I'm going to do in a minute, guys. That's not very sharp. So we do that, right? Let's go to erase. Granted, it's still kind of fuzzy. I don't know why they're fuzzy. They should be... Shouldn't be that fuzzy, but... I don't know why I did that. Why are you so fuzzy, boy? Why are the edges so fuzzy? That is very weird. It should be like pixelated. I was hoping it'd be pixelated dots, but it is what it is for now. We'll watch. Watch and see. Go to erase tool. Go to the erase tool. Thank you. Trying to see if this works. Trying to cheat my way into doing... Nah, it's not worth it. Nah, it's not worth it. I was trying to cheat my way into doing pipes that have ridges on them without having to draw all the ridges. Just didn't work. Just doing some, just making some random pipes. Copy paste. Nah, never works. for the life of me, I can't remember what was the animated. I don't know if it's a remake. There was some animated show coming up that some people were like kind of getting really hyped about online. But right now, for the life of me, I can't remember what it is now. Oh, Ghost in the Shell. That's it. So they're making a new Ghost in the Shell, but apparently its art style is meant to resemble, rather than, listen, the original Ghost in the Shell was immensely well animated, and the music is haunting. Couldn't really get too much behind the storytelling, but then again, I hadn't seen it in many years. Maybe I should return to it. Ghost in the Shell, the TV show, was also similarly had like interesting storylines. But to be honest, I remember it being advertised on Adult Swim primarily about like the balance between what's meant to be a man or a machine, and like apparently that was gonna be like the main balance of like the balance between man and machine. Where's the cutoff? Where isn't the cutoff? And the show dabbled in that, but it only really touched on it in the way I liked near the end of the series, when the little spider robots had their own mini story arc where they became self-aware, and that was like later on in the show. And I was like I wanted that to be like the main through line of the show. Once again, I haven't seen it in many years. I should go back to it. So with that being said, Ghost in the Shell itself, just like as a whole in the animated form, never really caught my attention. So maybe if this is more like the manga, maybe that's something new I need to check out. So Science Saru, I'm guessing that you're talking about the animation studio then. Awesome. 'Cause I know the original. All I see is the basic like still image of her standing and looking over like a railing, and people are saying how it seems to resemble the original manga a lot more. And yes, I am aware of like the original manga's creator slash artist, and how he just went down a completely different route later. I'm aware that the original manga had a lot more sexuality in it, like a lot more. Like you can argue that the animated movie had a lot of nudity, but it had like nudity that made sense for the majority of it. I think one guy said it best online. He was like, watching the original Ghost in the Shell, it's like it trolls you, because at first you're like, okay, this nudity makes sense. She goes invisible. The robots need to wear clothes. But after a while, it just becomes it's like it's trolling you by saying, "No, we're gonna just put nudity in it for the sake of it." I get it, and I do know the manga had a lot more like sexuality in it. Yeah, I know he's pretty much like an anti-artist these days. But I forget, is he the same one behind Tank Police? There's Tank Police, there's Appleseed, there's a connection between them. I forget what they are. Did he do Tank Police as well? So Tank Police is another example of like why Japanese OVAs. Why I wasn't into anime when I was younger, because the OVAs always like left a weird taste in my mouth. The first half of Tank Police is a funny kind of dark comedy romp about like a society that's gone to shit. Excuse my language, and that's why they need tanks. And then the second half then tries to get really deep and like really deep metaphysical regarding one of the villains, who you find out isn't really human to begin with. He's like a cyborg or something else altogether. And then the OVA just ends. Like it has two completely different tones, but at least the first half of Tank Police really got me into it. Hey, we got a bot. Speaking of robots, we got a bot in the chat. Woo! Yeah, but Tank Police like the aesthetic, you know, especially because I'm a big fan of Metal Slug, like I was really into that, you know. And it's funny because you can argue that it has obvious like fan service, but at the same time, compared to other OVAs, old and new, and even new manga, like their fan service is nothing compared. In Tank Police, the fan service in Tank Police is nothing compared to like other stuff we've seen. And don't get me wrong, I love the Puma girls, but like their fan service is pretty chill compared to other stuff, and I'm totally okay with that. In a strange way, based on what I've seen and what I've been told, the sexuality and nudity as it's presented in the manga for Ghost in the Shell. The heck is that? It's a Mentos commercial? Sorry, that just threw me way off. An advertisement for Mentos just like popped up. That was so weird. Like old school Mentos. Sorry about that. As I was saying, the nudity in the manga for Ghost in the Shell and the way sexuality is presented, it's kind of like not Cyber 6. Cyber 6 was an 80s anime. What's the cartoon where the woman wears all black and she has this insanely flowing cape? Cyber 9? Oh god, what's her name again? Give me a second. No. There's Cyber 9. Oh god, remember that? That was a really short-lived show on like Fox. Cyber 9? No, it's something else. Yeah, Cyber 9 moved on. No, Cyber 29? Yeah. Is it Cyber 29? It's something like that. Cyber 6, there we go. So, Cyber 6, short-lived animated show. Really interesting show, great art style. The manga actually has tons of nudity apparently, and the manga. So it's not a manga, it's a comic from France? Spain? I forget where. It's not Japan. Cyber 6. It's comic, black and white. It's much more mature than the cartoon would ever be. It's kind of like how Ninja Turtles was. It has nudity. It does have sexuality. It deals with like the disconnected youth, like the youth that hates society. So there's a lot of like, you know, stories of like, you know, just improper behavior among teenagers. But in that one, in Cyber 6, the manga, in Cyber 6, the comic, it deals with the fact that the main character isn't even human. So you have these long-winded monologues about like how she examines her body in the mirror, which also leads to lots of nudity scenes. She walks around nude all the time in her house. It's her house, why not? But it deals with the storyline, and I hear in a weird way, Cyber 6 is a lot like Ghost in the Shell in that way, where it deals with like, our bodies are made in a factory. Who gives a damn? Whoa, long-winded thing. Sorry, give me a second. Let me read that chat. Oh yes, I know about the money. I know, yeah. I've heard that before from you. How the money just flowed into animation at the time. I do feel like OVA kind of spoiled America's view of like what Japan was okay with, in like in their standard animation. And even then, there are cultural differences. We've talked about this. There are cultural differences of what they can and can't get away with. But I think OVA's definitely like ruined our mindset. of what was okay on like regular TV. I don't know. It's like sending the Spawn animation, the original Spawn animation, to another country and saying this is American cartoons. Like that wasn't what it was. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. But once again, going back to just like, because I mean, even in American comics, like we have our Spider-Man cartoons, we have our Superman cartoons, we have our Batman cartoons. But even then, there's stuff that happens in the comics that isn't translated into TV. So even though, but I guess that's also another thing that kind of confuses me. Like 90% of animation in Japan is IP based, which then, and for a culture that's so IP based in their animation, I as an outsider was also kind of confused as to like, well, it was like that in the manga. Why wouldn't you just put that in the anime? So even they have censorship standards between those two. Yeah. Don't get me started on the term woke. It meant one thing. I keep looking at my microphone instead of the actual freaking camera. I don't know why. I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to say this real quick. Woke meant something for a particular number of people. And then politicians needed a boogeyman word that they could also then muddy the meaning behind. And they took that word. And now that word is used by a bunch of neckbeards whose view on society is too freaking messed up. And I'm going to leave it at that. Leaving it at that. No more than that. Right? You don't know what the word actually means. That's what you don't know what the word actually means, okay? Not you, Red. I'm talking about people who use that word whenever something upsets them. In the end, here's an example. Here's a perfect example, right? Freaking the Invincible series. It's like gore porn. It's like violent gore porn. But even they know that there was one particular topic they were not going to animate, and they left it out of the story. And that's when he encounters that one female villain. And if you've ever read Invincible, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the writers were like, someone on the writing team was like, listen, we'll have him kill 1,000 people, but there's some topics that we cannot translate onto TV. And that's okay. That's their choice on that. And I respect them for making that choice. You know? You know what? You can argue the violence is too much as well, but there's some stuff they will not translate. Thank you for the offer. I gotta figure out how to do that exactly. I'm sure it's super simple. I just gotta figure out how to do it. He's looking like a little tank, isn't he? Look at this guy. Big old tank. To be honest, the only stuff from Invincible I've seen are the loads and loads of clips people have put online, because I don't have, I don't have Prime, I don't have Disney Channel, I don't have other streaming services. I don't. Why? Because once again, it's just too much to keep up with. I know my habits. I watch too much YouTube to begin with, let alone having access to like 15 different channels. I just can't. I mean, that's the wrong tool. I do criticize Incredible a little bit because of the sheer amount of violence it has. But people still seem to love it for the storytelling. So there has to be more to it than what I'm seeing, of course. There has to be more to it than what I'm seeing. Yo, speaking of just trying to keep up with stuff, you know, so there's Please Please Please, I Don't Want to Be a Magic Girl, right? Which is still just a pilot right now. Or Pretty Please. And freaking Glitch just dropped a trailer for yet another original series called Gaslight District. And they dropped a trailer for their first 2D animated series. Now they dropped another one that's got another computer animated series. They're just pumping out of, you know, just a lot of good original shorts, man. I mean, there's a lot of good original shorts coming out. Shorts, as in like pilots. Yeah, I've only seen a few clips. I've only seen like a few like snippets of Gaslight District. It seems to be like another like dark comedy, which Glitch is great at. Glitch is so good at like choosing what storylines they want to highlight, and a lot of them are like freaking dark comedies. That's the wrong tool. What is going on here? Why did I click something weird? What's going on here? That's a black pen. It was just, I don't know what was going on there. It was drawn in white for some reason. There we go. Weird. Ooh, that's nuts. You got Castle Crashers? Oh, that's right. You mentioned it last time. Oh, I've been spoiling it. I've been spoiling him too much with freaking new games and stuff. And I got, like I said, I got a little gift. I got a gift stream. I got some Steam. I got some gift Steam games as well. I don't know. I think he's been doing good. Apparently, during the past month, whatever he's been doing with the freaking video games, I got like 5 new subscribers over on YouTube. nothing to brag about compared to the numbers I have, because like it's nothing. Well, actually, no, it's the opposite. Because of the numbers I have, it's everything, to be honest. With the little numbers I have, he's been doing so well. I might just have to buy it from him, man. You know what? Just for the heck of it. Obviously, a real astronaut suit isn't just a solid metal tin can. But let's pretend his is. And with that said, he has these nice claw marks in the back of his nice damage marks in the back of his pack. It gives a little character. Gives a little character, you know? Advertisement.
More donations. Oh, Bill? Hey, Bill, do you have...
There we go. Wow. The advertisements are popping up like in the middle of the dang song. Not even like in between the songs on this playlist. What demo? Have you? Oh, which reminds me. Did you play Blood? We talked about it way back. Rainbreaker. Yo, you had me at Muscular Lady. Okay? You have me at Muscular Lady. That's all you need to know. So I know it's really just like streamer bait. But I personally would love to play freaking Repo with you. Repo with you and a few of the guys. Me, you, Orc Punch. Like, Repo is one that I personally would love to play with you guys. And everyone's like, oh, Repo's just another version of Lethal Company. And I get it. You know, one mechanic works. So, someone else said this online. And I think it was Yahtzee from Second Wind. Yahtzee said, you know, you have this a game that works, that's like primed for streamers, like Lethal Company. And you have all these people who make versions of it. But Repo, I think, plays better than Lethal Company. Like, it has, you know, the damage mechanic where items break. It has, like... I just feel it's like a better cleaned up version of what Lethal Company was. And Repo just seems like fun. I know it's the fad right now. And it might also go the way of Among Us, where eventually it'll taper out. But Repo still looks like fun. I don't think I have. I feel like I know about it. I don't think I've played Vampire Survivors. Wait, what's cheap? You're talking about Repo? Or you're talking about Rainbreaker? Oh yeah, man. We gotta try repo. I don't know if the modding culture has broken into it yet. Because with Little Company, there's tons of mods. I don't know if repo has that yet. Let me try something. Just trying the stabilization toggle. Because I tend to do, when I'm not careful, I tend to get scratchy like this. I'm doing just indications of like the door hinge that would be on the final toy, more or less. Now you know me. Like, the intern's plucking his way through Cuphead. He's kind of obsessed with that. So it's kind of hard to prime away from it. And with me, it's similarly, I'm like similar to that, where like I'll play a game, but unless I'm really, really into it, I won't stick with it. But if it's a group game, I'm there. I'll lock the intern back in the closet for a bit if it's a group game. You give me all these games, man. Crow Country is a. Maybe Silent Hill with the Final Fantasy VII character models. Okay. I mean, not to make us all sound old, but what? Oh, freaking. Snap to grid, snap to freaking ruler. Would you stop that nonsense? You know, you know, we are retro. It is retro. Essentially, they're kind of like low poly. That's the word. Low poly. There's a lot of games that maybe maybe the fandom isn't as big as like just straight up pixel art. But there is a love for low poly out there, in like in the indie scene. Almost 3. Sorry, just trying to get the size right. It says 1, 2, almost 3. Okay. Just trying to keep some sense of proportions right between various parts of this drawing. Once again, it's a messy drawing I'm doing here, but it's all just to get an idea on paper. That was interesting. R for rotate, please. Thank you. Now, we have the hinge. Those represent hinges for the backpack. But I need to do a secondary hinge on the opposite side. But I realized the backpack, the measurement I've done here is actually wider than it should be. Because it goes over into the shoulders. The backpack should be on his back, more or less. We'll figure that out. You know, I'm just going to put it right here in the middle. It'll probably be right about there. Like a count. Rotate. Why won't you? Thank you. Think of this as a counter hinge. There was like a delay in the eraser for a minute, which is why I flickered on and off the layer. I wasn't sure if I was on the right layer. I was, it just didn't want to erase for some reason. There we go. Two hinges which open one way. When it's closed, one hinge for the whole thing to swing out like a door. So it's the backpack is its own mold, and the backpack against the back of the astronaut is another mold. It's like a it's like an accordion in the way it zigzags. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. Trying to think if there's anything else we could sketch. This is all stuff that's going to be sculpted. So I'm trying to think, what else should I plan ahead for? Sculpted by hand. Trying to think what else I should plan ahead for. Or is everything else in this so far going to be computer sculpted, digitally sculpted? Okay, back. Front, just marking my layers. Just realized I drew something on the wrong layer. Nothing horrible, but I did draw something on the wrong layer. There you go. This should be on this layer. So basically I went to one layer, drew this hinge on the wrong layer. I want to have the front and back of this image this drawing separate. So I drew the hinge on the wrong layer. So I'm just going to this layer now. I'm just going to fix it. Going to redraw it essentially. don't know what else I would do on this. I could do something funny. Small detail. Let's add some small details that may or may not make it to the final. And as I draw this little band-aid on him, just a reminder, I am still working on the one-armed bandit. As always, I have a long list of projects that are bouncing around in the back of my head. So, with that being said, I've decided to kind of organize my brain. So, you know, I take the list of projects that are desperately trying to live rent-free inside my brain, and try to organize them, right? By what's important. So if I have a convention coming up, I should really focus on this project or that project. So, with that being said, I focused on, as mentioned earlier, my card game, Ascending Assassins, because all it needed was some corrective illustration. So that's done. The illustrations are done. I just gotta send it in for a prototype print and see how that print comes out. Now that that's done, I could focus on one-armed bandit, but I'm gonna also refocus how I do it, because I've been bouncing between like doing some of the programming, doing the sprites, programming sprites. And I realized there are a long list of tutorials that are really helpful. So what I should do is focus on one thing at a time. So I'm thinking, focus on the first stage. Finish the background drawing for the first stage. Finish the boss design. Maybe do one or two more villains. I'm not sure which villains I'm going to use for the first stage. Get all the artwork for one stage done. And then return to the tutorials and really dive into them. And, you know, discover, because you don't know what you don't know. So I was doing one thing one way for the longest time and found out there was another way of doing it. I had no idea about that. So I'm going to focus on the artwork. Finish the artwork. Return to the tutorial. Once I get the first stage done, that's the core of what I need to know tutorial-wise. Movement, villain attack, and boss attack. Anything else after that will be variations of that. And that's how I'm going to approach the one-armed bandit. That's also not the only project. There's three main projects I want to focus on. The first one was the card game. It's good to go. Done. The other one is this, toy design. So both this. So this I know what I'm doing. Like, I know what I'm doing. It just takes time to design and 3D print stuff. And then it's going to take time to design and sculpt this guy. But I know how to do that. With one-armed bandit, I know how to do sprites. You know, not the best in the world, but I could do sprites. It's the programming that takes a while. So I'm taking what I know and breaking it down as in, these are the three projects, and inside those three projects, what do I know? And that's how I'm approaching my current set of projects. He says, knowing full well that he also did some writing earlier for a short film his friend wants to help him make. 3.5 projects, 3.5. It's a small details, cracking the shell, cracking his dome, scars in the back of the suit. Like even little things like patches. Like, this is a fun part. Like, you know, now we can just be like, doo doo doo. He has a patch over here. these are the fun things you would see in the old Playmates toys. It's like little designs like that. His spacesuit seen some stuff, you know. We'll put another one over here. Stitching that just isn't the best. And for the suit, it's gonna have like a hole right here, like 3 or 4 holes where the Play-Doh squeezes out of. I think we're good. Trying to zoom at just the right 19. Give me a second. Move the nav window. There we go. Move it over a pinch. Yeah, see, now you can see it better. What's going on here? Congrats. All right. Red, I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank everyone else who might be viewing this later on. I think we did good. It's 11:04 right now. Aside from adding like little things like I said, like the scars on the back and the dented windshield, I think this is a basic idea what I'm gonna aim for. Once I get the 3D printed molds done on the back, thanks, dude. Once I get the 3D molds done on the back, that will really set the scale for the figurine. And I'm trying not to make it too big, but I'm taking these prints already. I already have. Right? So we're gonna, let's say we take these guys, let's say we take these mooks and turn them like that, right? Those are 2 of the characters. That is, I say 4 inches across. I could probably like fudge that a bit. That's a 2-inch base, so that's 4 inches across. So let's do that again, because the next figurine is gonna also be 2 inches down. And that puts me at roughly 5 inches. So it is a 4x5 backpack, right? It's a 4x5 backpack. This is a 4x5 rectangle on its back with roughly the proportions that the astronaut might have. Maybe to fudge it, I'll bring the backpack down past his butt. Because he doesn't really need leg articulation. The arm articulation will just be simply at the shoulders, up and down. And once again, with that said, because this is a 11-inch 11-inch length. Yeah, 11-inch length, and the width is longer. So that's roughly 9 inches. He takes up about 9 inches on this printout. Like, I was to print this out, that's a 9-inch tall figurine. It's a big boy. It's a big, big boy. It's bigger than this bottle, pretty much. Your average action figure is about 6 inches. A wrestling figure, some of them are about 7 inches. Barbie dolls or whatever, like a foot tall or something. I don't know. I know Barbie dolls are definitely smaller than that. I think Barbie dolls are like maybe 9 inches tall. Let me check that. Just out of curiosity. How tall is a Barbie doll? Barbie dolls are 11 inches. Let me try something out. Stand by. That's a new one. Oh, okay. I'm typing in Transformer toy sizes. They go by names. Core class, whatever you want to call them. Each one's a... Here we go. What are the different sizes of Transformer toys? Like the standard Transformer. Transformers! It's funny, these say feet as opposed to inches. A Legend class Transformer toy is about 9 to 11 feet. This is misdone. Yeah, they used to have names like Leader, Voyager class, etc. Those names kind of went to the wayside. They keep changing the names. Deluxe is like 14 inches tall. Yes, this would be a Leader class size toy if it was a Transformer. There we go. Anyway, yeah. Bam! Our design is done. This is our astronaut. There is no name for him yet. There is no name for this toy yet. It is a astronaut toy that makes his own aliens. Then you can then mass produce and make your own army of little Play-Doh aliens and have him stomp on them. There's no name for him yet. I'm thinking of a name. I'm trying to think of a name. We gotta talk to Rex. Katorius Rex is great at like names and pun names. If a guy was made of like pennies, he'd call him like, he'd design him like a police officer and call him Copper, because that's what Katorius Rex does. He's great at names. He's great, like he's a man of the 90s when it comes to naming his characters of like superheroes and villains. He's great at that. But yeah, thank you for jumping in. There we go. I have to mute that music. Thank you, Red Spectra, for jumping in. As always, everyone, you could watch this for about a week or so on Twitch. Then, at the same time and beyond, it will be permanently uploaded on YouTube. You can see the old streams up on YouTube. You can also see video game streams done by the intern on YouTube. And you can see art streams, or rather art videos of how to do videos, such as my quick vids, where I show you how to make a certain thing that's kind of cool in a short amount of time. Check out my social media pages. I am on Twitter, but I'm also on Blue Sky. DeviantArt also has a lot of my older drawings. Instagram has a lot of my work in progress. You can see the work that's leading up to this project as well as other ones. And I have my own website that is theburgosart.com, daburgosart.com, with a general gallery of what I've been doing recently, as well as a few portfolio pages for more like stuff on toy design, on costume and character design as well. That website is slowly being developed. I need to add more to it and kind of bump it up. Please check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Anywhere. Leave a comment anywhere. And I think that's it. So yeah, once again, I am Dante. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the future. Later.